Okay, so time for another modern entry into the spy fiction genre, which is A Long Night in Paris by Dov Alfon. So, Alfon, an Israeli journalist originally. He grew up in Paris, worked as a journalist for most of his life before writing this, which is his debut novel, released in 2019. And the whole story, I mean, from the title alone, you can tell the influence of his birthplace and him growing up in Paris is like key. The whole story, even though it's a spy story, is really like running through the city, exploration of places he grew up. You know, it's that sort of thing. And it's really fast paced despite that. You know, it's not a meandering childhood story. It's a thriller still. So, what makes the story go so fast? The fundamentals, right, are about a young Israeli man who goes missing after arriving at Charles de Gaulle Airport, the famous Paris airport. The trail, which is being followed by one Israeli investigator and one French investigator, leads them into the city of Paris on the trail of this missing man. The missing man eventually leads them to the team hunting this man, which is a private assassination team sent by a corrupt billionaire. So, I mean, great premise for a spy story already, right? Already good. But set in Paris, atmospheric, written by someone who lived there, even better. Okay, that's a really brief, no spoilers, no nothing, overview of it. So go read if you want to, and then I'll actually tell you what happens. So, the young abducted man is the most important part of the story, right? Not really. He kind of fades into the background as the plot unfolds. So first off, he's not the original person. There is an initial death in the airport when they arrive, but they realise that's a case of mistaken identity, not even the right missing man. Even the real missing man, which is an Israeli information officer called Yaminsky, is hiding out in a hotel for most of the story. He's not really a main character. The main characters are Colonel Dabi, the Israeli investigator, and his French counterpart, Commissaire Leguer. And then back in Israel, Oriana, who is an Israeli information officer assisting Colonel Dabi, which we'll come on to later. Okay, so they're searching for this guy across the hotels of Paris. Well, who is this billionaire searching for them? Why are they up against him? Tricky one. In a classic case of corruption, the billionaire is a casino owner who's described as a great friend of the Prime Minister of Israel. You get full-on scenes of the aides describing how close he is to the Prime Minister, how they need to make an official visit. He's a high-up official, right? And he's trying to track down this guy. And throughout the story, you really don't know why, until pretty late on. So, they get closer with the help of Oriana, Dabi, and Leguer, track him down to a specific hotel in Paris. After a really dramatic incident involving a gun, a death, and a lot of blood in a hotel revolving door, he escapes. Sort of. Because he's been captured, kind of, by this team. The team is a brutal team of Chinese assassins who will kill anyone in their way. They'll kill each other. And they're definitely willing to kill these investigators, who are all sort of relatable characters. Very menacing, and we see the story from their perspective sometimes. Because the story switches from perspectives constantly. And that's why, like, in terms of style, the book is really a winner. Like, the pace keeps up. I mean, everything that's happening keeps happening quick. There's no breaks. But you still get attached to these characters, like Dabi and Leguer, because of small moments, because of their conversations. You still get attached to them. There are some breaks, right, in the story. So, as I've said, they're at the hotel. After that, they continue the search on the streets of Paris, in a shopping mall and other places, and eventually leads them to a dramatic showdown. And they stop the assassins. I'm not going to spoil it completely, but dramatic showdown in the centre of Paris is how it ends. I'll leave it at that. So, back to the start. The narrative is really tight. There's no pauses, there's no unnecessarily, developments, conversations, flashbacks, none of that. The focus is entirely on these characters, because he's got to build them up in the short time that he has whilst you're reading this book. And actually, the book is most interesting, I think, not because of the style, which is good for a spy book, but it's sort of what you expect from a really good thriller. What's interesting most about the book is the technology. I think it's the most technologically advanced spy thriller I've ever read. Like, the technology is insane. Dov Alfor, as an Israeli, kind of plays up the stereotype of Israel having crazy spy tech, and it leads into that. There is phones that can track anybody. There are handheld cameras that will display real-time feed between continents. I mean, drones that slice people into bits. I'm not joking. It's insane. Like, the technology is just nuts, and that's what makes it an unusual spy thriller. The narrative is what makes it a thriller good. Technology is what makes it a really good spy thriller. Okay, I'll sum up those disparate bits I've been talking about. The story is tracking down the missing officer and the assassins as they kill people throughout the city and trying to stop them before they do. The narrative is fun because it's tight and it keeps the characters interesting. The technology is interesting because it's unique and it's pretty cutting edge. So all of that is what makes it unique. What makes it fit into the wider genre is its thriller aspects, right? It's tracking down people before they can kill more people, the assassins. It's got a team of detectives, that's Adavi and Laguerre. And it's got the spy genre element with the Israeli factor. So it fits into the wider genre, but it's still unique, and it's still a great story by itself, even if you're not interested in that genre. So, with all of that, I have to give it really high marks. It keeps you interested. It's not that long. Very easy to read. I think it's easily an 8 out of 10, and definitely a recommend. I mean, it's great. So, yeah. If you like spies, if you like Paris, if you like thrillers, if you like detective stories, any of that, I would 100% recommend A Long Night in Paris by Dov Alfor.